Welcome to today's tutorial. You're going to be learning how to drape this beautiful design. Okay, so there are different methods and all, so I'm going to be showing you how I draped this dress. So let's get started. Okay, so first of all, I'm using 1 yard of this net in order to achieve this style. So 1 yard, I'm using 1 yard of the net. Then I made a pleat. You just use your hand to just make pleats. Okay, so just make pleats like that, and then you pin it to the center just like I did. And also you determine where you want it to be at your side. So I just see the way I draped it. So you just keep holding it as if you're plaiting it, depending on how full your net is. Mine is 1 yard, and 1 yard, actually you can see the way it sat on my body, looking all good. Okay, so you follow that same line from the center and you pin it to your side like that. So I'm not going to be sewing the center down, but I'm just pinning the center down so that it's going to be easy for me to go all around, just like you see. So after you've pinned it down and you are satisfied with where you pleated and how it's sitting on your mannequin, then you go ahead and use your hand to stitch the sides. Don't stitch the center. Okay, so then you determine how you want your sleeve to be. Okay, so you can see I did mine exactly on my natural sleeve. So that's that. So now what I'm going to be doing next is to drape the bottom part, just like you see me do. So for the upper part, you're going to hold pleats and then you determine where you want to place your pleats. Okay, so this is how to drape. There are different techniques, different styles of draping. So you fold it small pleats, and then you put it wherever you want. Mine, I'm putting it on my waistline. Okay, I'm using 3 yards for the whole of this dress, both the inner straight gown and the draping. Okay, so what I'm using to drape is like 1.5 yards. Okay, so you just hold the center of where it is of your fabric, then you pin it to the center of your main fabric. Then I'm just following that same pleats that I used, and I'm going to be pinning it to the sides. Okay, so I'm not going to be attaching it to the sides, but I'm just pinning it down just so that it's going to be very easy for me to work with, and then I will have a visual representation of how it's going to look like on my body. Okay, so that is why it's important for you to just do everything on your mannequin. If your customer is not around, so you do it on the mannequin so that you see that, okay, yeah, this is how it's going to look. So I'm just pinning it down. You follow that same pleat from the center, how it is, you follow it till that part, so you keep pleating so that everything is aligned. I hope you understand. So I just came down by like 9 inches, so the pleat is on my hip depth. Okay, exactly on my hip depth. So you can determine how you want your drape to sit. Okay, so but the way I did mine, that is what I'm explaining to you. So I came down by 9 inches. That is where I am putting my pleats, and you can do it, make sure it's not too tight. Okay, make sure it's a bit loose and all, so that it's going to, have a bit of freedom and it's going to look natural on your hip. Then after that, I'm going to be putting the remaining part on my at the center back. Okay, so now what I'm doing is at the center back, I'm putting it down where my zipper stopped and 1 inch away from my zipper. Okay, remember that I'm using like a bit, almost, I think it's almost 1.5 yards that I'm using to drape this. Okay, and it came out beautiful. If you're still not satisfied, you can still come up at the center. Okay, so that is going to still give it more should I say cow effect or so. So I'm going to do the same thing and do the same thing for the other side as well. Follow the pleats from the center and then just fold and put it down, put it on your waistline, on your hip, I mean your hip depth, and then you also pin down. So I'm only going to be sewing the center front and then the center back. So I'm not going to be sewing the side. I'm just doing the side, pinning it down just to see how it's going to look like on my body. So you're going to use your needle and thread if you don't want your seams to show. So use your needle and thread to sew it together, like the center. Use your needle and thread, you sew it together. You can sew it like 2 or 3 times. Okay, so that it's going to be able to carry the weight. This fabric is weighty. Okay, so it's going to be able to carry the weight, and then it will not just rip off when you're dancing, you get. So you use stitch it like 2 or 3 times up and down, so that you are assured that this thing is not going to move when you're moving about. Okay, so after you've done that, what I did for the center back, I sewed it on my sewing machine. Okay, so you can go ahead and do that as well. But if you still do not want your seams to show, you can also use your needle and thread, your hand needle and thread, to also tack it down. But I used sewing machine to sew the center back. Okay, so you can go ahead and do it. If you feel that it's going to be difficult for you to do on your mannequin, after you've already positioned and attached everything with your pin to your dress, you can just remove it from your mannequin and put it on your flat surface and use your hand to sew. Okay, so you can see that I'm also following the same thing for the center back. Remember what I said, that I came down from where my zipper stopped. Okay, from where my zipper stopped at the back, and I came out by 1 inch. The reason why I did that is so that there's not going to be any obstruction when I'm zipping. Okay, so you know that where your zip piece is bulky, there is a higher chance that your zipper is going to worn out, because you're going to be struggling to zip up. So that is why I came out 1 inch and then where my zipper stopped. So that's basically all. Then the rough edges, you can go ahead and then you hem it. So that was what I did, because I wanted everything to be neat. So after pinning everything down, this is the result. You can see this is looking all beautiful. So you can go ahead and then embellish your tulle, the upper part. However, you can put stones, you can put anything, or you can leave it as it is. Then you can also bead the upper part where the tulle net is, so you can go ahead and do that as well. So that's basically all how to drape. If you want to learn another method of draping, just tell me and then I'm going to work on it. So thank you so much for watching. So this is the final result. Look at how beautiful this is looking. This is 3 yards. Everything is 3 yards. So thank you so much for watching. If you are confused about anything, put it in the comment section. And if you've not joined my membership, make sure you join my membership. You can also support with super things. Bye. See you in my next tutorial.